Hello, ICICLE friends. It's me again, Shubhi Sinha with Indiana University. I'm back with more tips on AI ethics. Today, we're going to talk about trustworthiness and what it means to democratize AI. To start with, what does it take to trust AI and cyber infrastructure? Trusting means having confidence that outcomes are positive and aligned with expectations, that a commitment will be upheld or abided, and or in the accuracy and precision of an answer. Trustworthiness is typically built over time and must be proven. It takes dedicated effort to build trust in a system. Manufactured systems aren't inherently trustworthy just because they're built by good developers. Transparency is one way in which AI can show itself to be trustworthy. When trust relations are not yet established, as in the case of a new system, users may rely on context to determine trustworthiness. For example, one may trust or distrust based on reputation, certification, or known markers, such as a core trust seal of approval on a data repository's website. Human identities are not rigid and they do not neatly transport across time and place. People don't necessarily identify themselves or their personal data the same in all contexts. In any event, such as Jack Derrida calls situated actions, making a decision, such as whether to trust AI to help with a business or personal decision, has potential for trauma because situated actions are characteristically open-ended and unknown. To build trustworthiness, situation and context are important from development to deployment and use. Contextualization helps build trust by demystifying the unknown. Effective communication and shared meaning are essential for building trust. It's important to communicate about the context of AI development and deployment. Otherwise, users can't assess a system's appropriateness for their needs. Unintended consequences have been reported when in situ context is not considered. A 2019 study of smart farming in transitional economies found that Polish farmers don't rely on the internet for information about farming decisions. As a result, their knowledge was not represented in data, and decision systems provided suboptimal recommendations. Another study led researchers to warn that, quote, the real-world suffering of animals in some agricultural contexts is obscured both by the data that is collected and by the fact that it is represented by data rather than witnessed firsthand. What these studies attest to is that representation and context are needed for automated decisions to be made trustworthy. If a system is not trusted, it runs a high risk of never being adopted. Hence, it's important to show that a system is trustworthy, that it abides by its commitments, and it's aligned with the user's expectations. Now, how do we do that? So, here you go. Tip number 1 draws on the importance of communication and shared meaning for trust building. We should strive to bring users' needs into development as much as possible, and to seek out more information about the context of use when necessary. This will build trustworthiness in ICICLE products, and fairness as well. To aid in that, AI developers are using model cards and data sheets to add context to models and data. Model cards can add accountability and build trust. They standardize documentation of things like how and by whom a model was created and trained. Model cards and data sheets require developers to specify the context in which models are intended, and if there are contexts where a model is known to be inappropriate and potentially leave users vulnerable. Having model cards is a marker of trust, but unless they are well documented, trustworthiness will come into question. So, ethics tip 2 for trustworthiness is probably pretty clear. Yup, that's right. Tip number 2 is to develop a habit of annotating models and data. If models are not well represented, data ontologies cannot create meaning reliably. Don't leave this as an afterthought right before deployment. And even if you've already released models, you can still go back and annotate. As we build a model for AI infrastructure that is centered on ethics, we've now added some tips for advancing trustworthiness. First was to develop a habit of annotating work, and second was to be mindful of the context of use, which is consistent with ICICLE's commitment to use inspired science and its goal of democratizing AI. Okay, iCyclists, that was all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.